Afternoon.
My name is Theodora Mdise. I'm the coordinator for events at the library. And thank you so much for joining us for this book launch. It's a very specialized field, and I'm so happy to see people coming in for this special topic. I hope you will enjoy the discussion today. I'll start by introducing our author for this afternoon and just read a short bio about him. T.Mokgohloa is well known for his excellency in the topics of science and technology. Since school, he demonstrated his talent. In 2009, he achieved awards for Best Innovation and Technology Research Project at the Science Expo Fair. He graduated from a community college with a diploma in electrical engineering. In his final year in 2014, he joined World Skills as a Mechatronics competitor. He excelled in his role and won first place at the national competition the following year, which landed him a spot at the International Championship in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Early 2015, he made an appearance in a TV show on the topic of mechatronics. Today, he is a technical specialist at Festo, an expert in mechatronics and Industry 4.0 at World Skills, where he writes test projects and manages skills competitions. He travels the world facilitating technical trainings to participants in both education and automation industries. Let's put our hands together for the author this afternoon, Treasure. Treasure, I'm going to give you a few minutes to come and introduce yourself properly today. I read your profile, but I would like you to introduce yourself properly and just give us a brief on what made you, write this book. Okay? And maybe get in a little bit into what you do in your field of work. Please come to the podium.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate the work.
Just raise the voice.
Sorry, thank you so much for the wonderful introduction and also to the guests today. Yeah, appreciate the time that you've taken to actually join this privilege today. So I'm a technical specialist at Festo, and as was mentioned, quite a long history involvement in the topic of mechatronics. I think I would like to just perhaps share with you the reason why I really write this book. So I actually started writing when I was 14. I kept a journal, and it has always been a dream of mine to publish my content. Of course, over the years, I have written so much content, partly for my work, and things really changed for me in 2023 when I undertook the biggest project of my career. That was last year. So I organized and conducted a skills training camp, and I think I have some of the people that were part of this here today. And I wanted it to be a success. So as I was preparing the training material, I realized that I needed a better way to connect with my participants. So therefore, I started creating content from the beginning. So the type of content I wanted to deliver is not conventional. So I had to refer to quite a number of books and research papers for this. So I started formulating handouts. Soon after that, I started realizing that I actually have written books. because it was on different topics. So it was quite a huge event on mechatronics and of course on Industry 4.0. So this handouts that I prepared were in both categories. So the event was a success. However, it left me hooked. So I remained with a strong desire to modify the books that I had written. So even after the event itself, I continued to modify the books so that it covers a larger pool of audience. So that's actually a short story about why I wrote the book. Yeah. So
okay. Whilst you're standing there, because this is your day, this is your platform, I'll ask you questions whilst you're standing there, so that it shows that this is your platform. Mechatronics. For me, it's a big weight for somebody who has not been involved in engineering, in electronics, in IT. Can you explain it in layman terms?
Okay, I will try. So in layman terms, mechatronics is really a field of study. We don't really call it mechatronics in the industry. We refer to it as automation. But when you look at what it really is, at the core of it is three things. It is mechanical engineering, it is electrical engineering, as well as information technology, which was really came together in 1980, but not in South Africa, however. So globally, mechatronics started in 1980. So it was countries like Japan, the leading countries economically, that really grabbed it and moved forward with it. And that is why you will find that mechatronics is strongly associated with areas where they have big production of automotive industry. For instance, as I've mentioned, Japan as well as Germany. So this is, in a nutshell, what mechatronics is. Bringing three different fields of studies together, being mechanical, IT, and of course, electronics.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Now as a lay person, I can understand what mechatronics. You did a project, when we started this, and you won that. Can you tell us a bit about that project? Because you were such a young boy, and then you decided to go into doing that project. You won it. Tell us about what you did exactly in that project.
Yes, so this takes me back to 2015, 2014, when I was in my final year of college. And this is when I discovered this event called World Skills. And I was actually doing electrical engineering at that time. And so I've always been fascinated about automation. And that fascination led me to research about what to study and what automation is, how to study automation, how to become an automation specialist. And that led me to discovering about mechatronics. So it has always been something that was of interest for me and was in my pipeline and my plan and goals to get a qualification and to get to become competent in the field of automation. So when I discovered this World Skills competition, I actually found that it does cover mechatronics. So what I then started doing was to find out more about it. What does it involve? Because I previously in school been involved in the science expos, where I did projects in innovation. So, as I read about it, I find that it's more to do with what I'm interested in, that is automation. So the project really is, you're given a project, first of all, you don't design the project.
Okay.
You're given a project which is containing all information that you need in order to build a machine. So you are assessed on your ability to build the machine in record time, but of course also the functionality of the machine in the end. Is it functioning according to the specification? Does it satisfy the customer? It was quite a challenge, to tell you the truth, because coming from electrical background and having to now deal with things that are mechanical, which I had no prior experience with, it was both learning curve for me, I think, but it was also quite fun, and I enjoyed it as well. So the project was building this automated system, which in the end, evaluators, as we were in Brazil in 2015, we had experts from different countries, Brazil itself, Germany, Japan, United States, these people that are experts in their field to come and evaluate the project that I had built at that time. And it was it was quite a journey for me, I think. And of course, I'm quite happy with the results. They were also quite happy with the results, and I think that's what led me to remain in this field and to grow in this field as well.
Tell us about Sao Paulo. So, what was the experience in Sao Paulo? Who did you meet? And what inspired you when you were in Sao Paulo?
Sao Paulo is a different country. It's a different city. It's a different place. It's a different environment, different culture. I think that going there was really like going into an ocean where I didn't know anything pretty much. I mean, it was my first time in 2015 that I left the country. And but at the same time, it is much like South Africa. I think the environment itself is not so different. But then, of course, they're a bit advanced than South Africa. So they do have some areas, some buildings, some sort of industries that are a little bit different to South Africa. It was quite a fun experience in that to be in this new place and to experience technology at that level. Of course, when you're talking about a skills competition of international scale, this is huge. We're not talking, the size of a hall. We're talking a very, very huge space where there are different things happening. By the way, not just mechatronics. I mean, we're talking of other fields as well. Electronics, some of them are not even in the engineering field. So it's a really, really huge place. And I think it really gives a person, for me, it gives me a good exposure into seeing some things that I've never seen before. I mean, I get to see aircrafts being built on stage, that was quite an experience. And by the way, mechatronics itself do exist in aviation as well. So to be in that place where you are seeing all these things was quite an experience I think I still cherish to this day.
Okay, you're talking about global, influence in terms of mechatronics. So you wrote this book. Does it meet global standards?
Yes, of course. So the topic of digitalization is closely related to Industry 4.0. And to date, there is no qualification for Industry 4.0 at our education institutions, at least to my knowledge. So this is actually holding industry back. We have not introduced much of the latest technologies into our production lines for this reason. Therefore, the content in this book is in reference to the global standard in not so well-known topics locally.
Okay.
So, yes, some content is in reference to the local standards, but all of the content is sort of, I want to say, audited the content using both standards locally and globally.
So we are now talking to students at UJ, right? Students who are either doing mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, or IT, right? Now, how we want them to bring these three things together. What advice are you giving them? Because you've just said, it's not available in our academic institutions as a comprehensive subject or something like that. So what advice are you giving them now based on the book that you wrote? Bringing the three fields together, and if somebody is doing mechanical engineering and the other one is doing electrical, the other one is doing IT, What are you saying for somebody who's interested now in mechatronics?
This is a really, really important question, I think. I'll just give an example with myself. As I've already mentioned that I come from electrical background. And when I entered the world of mechatronics, it was like an ocean, blue ocean, so much unknown. And perhaps you will find the same experience yourself if you're coming from mechanical industry or studies, or you're coming from electrical studies or IT studies and you're entering this field of mechatronics. You're going to find yourself probably in the similar situation. And the simple short advice I want to give you is just be open to learn, be open to change, and embrace change and embrace being challenged. So accept challenge because you may, electrical and mechanical are different. I mean, some terminologies, you find similar terminologies, but they mean different things in both fields. So you have to be open to change in learning new things that you're not sort of stuck with what you've learned in class. But I think we're talking of two things here because when you speak of digitalization, it's not really mechatronics. Digitalization is not mechatronics. Mechatronics is mechatronics. Digitalization is actually about bringing computer systems into computer and internet, basically, into existing systems and organizations. So this is not something you will find in mechatronics typically. Of course, mechatronics covers IT. But when you look at the what digitalization is trying to do, digitalization is actually trying to bring internet into systems, into machines, which is not a typical mechatronic thing. So mechatronics, you build a machine, like you build a computer, and that's it. The computer does not know internet, does not speak internet. So you can see immediately there that, what I mean when I say that industry is held back. Because internet is big now. I mean, the leading countries economically in the world today, if you look at how the stats, you will find that they are actually big on internet. So if our industry is going to match the global, then we need to embrace internet into our systems, into our industry. So digitalization itself needs to be brought into our curriculum. It needs to be brought into industry. Mm-hmm. And this book is digitalization in mechatronics because mechatronics is one field that is quite advanced compared to many fields like electrical, mechanical. It is quite advanced in that it brings all the different three fields together, but putting digitalization on top of that really creates something revolutionary. So I really recommend that for someone who is wanting to embark on this, please do get a copy of the book.
So tell us about the content of the book in terms of digitalization of this mechatronics, So tell us some of the core aspects. I know we want to encourage people to read the book, but the core aspects that will entice the reader to go and read this book so that they get something out of the book. What do you expect them to get out of the book?
Okay. So, part of my work connects with different people, specialists in different fields. Moreover, I have a sense that there is much talk about Industry 4.0. And when it comes to action, many times there is no clarity. So it's talk, Industry 4.0, amazing, wow, we're going to this new era. But really when you start to boil it down to action, okay, now we heard you, now what do we do from here on? My experience is that there is that sort of uncertainty. Where do we even begin? So therefore, the book moves you from theorizing to implementing. It does it by exploring the latest systems in automation in industries. It guides the reader to implement solutions involving machine learning, machine-to-machine communication, and other latest technology. So, and these are topics that really are on the agenda today. Machine-to-machine communication, machine learning, artificial intelligence. I think it's so a very buzzword today. So the book is really taking a person, guiding you about these topics and how to actually implement them, how to retrofit them into existing mechatronic systems and existing electrical and mechanical systems, of course.
Okay, thanks, Father. I'm going now to give an opportunity to our audience to ask questions and also the audience virtually. So please observe the audience virtually if there are any questions. So if, as we talk, you want to ask a question, you are welcome to raise your hand as I'm asking Treasure some of the questions. So let me check now. Is there any burning question from any of the audience members? Yes, sir.
I would like to ask you if does mechatronics also include AI, artificial intelligence?
Okay, thanks. Is there any other question? Yes.
Mine is specifically with the book. So for someone who's not specifically in the field that you're talking about, what interest do I then, because I can read about AI, Internet of Things, machine learning, and everything of that nature. But for someone who's not in that direct field, do I have an incentive to buy the book? Can I just get that bit maybe?
Okay, thanks. I'll give you the opportunity to ask, to answer, Treasure.
Okay, thank you so much for your questions. Obviously start with the first one. Okay, does mechatronics include artificial intelligence? So what do we mean when we say artificial intelligence? So when we speak of artificial intelligence, it's really a subject of computer science. So artificial intelligence is immensely studied in the field of computer science. Mechatronics, it does not really go far into computer science. Hence, you will find that we refer to it as bringing together mechanical, electronics, and IT. IT is a corner of computer science. Computer science is huge. It deals with many different topics. And part of it is this artificial intelligence. And that is really what I think inspired me and influenced me in writing this book, because I can see that gap. Artificial intelligence is a buzzword today, and we're seeing the benefits of it. It did not start yesterday. It did not start 10 years ago. It has been in development for many decades. We are only starting to know so much about it and hear so much about it because we are now starting to reap the fruits of artificial intelligence. I mean, when you look at things like your ChatGPT, your Copilot, these are systems that we are benefiting from today. And how do we now learn about these systems? How do we, for people that are in mechanical or mechatronics rather, or people that are in mechanical or engineering field, not computer science, how do we integrate these systems? How do you integrate this artificial intelligence into our existing system? Say, for instance, a production line, an automated system, a lift. Maybe let me take a lift, for example. How do we incorporate artificial intelligence into a lift? So, or maybe let me say a coffee machine. Now, a computer scientist does not cover elements of electrical engineering, does not cover mechanical. They are very good with computer systems. Now, you need someone with the knowledge and skill of mechanical and electrical to build a lift. So at what point do we now bring artificial intelligence into the lift so that perhaps you speak to it or it speaks to you, something like that? So, and that is the gap that we have today. So for someone who in the study of mechatronics, artificial intelligence is not covered. So essentially you're going to have two people, one who builds the lift, and then you're going to have another person, computer scientist, to bring artificial intelligence to the system. And we've already learned from this. That is why mechatronics exists in the first place. In the 80s, we saw a problem with trying to build people from different fields to commission a system. That's why we have professionals that are called mechatronics, because they have aspects of 3 different fields and they're able to work independently to build systems. now there's this new emerging technology, or artificial intelligence, or machine learning, etc., internet itself. How do we now produce someone that stands by themselves and be able to build a system from start to finish? And this is in development, I must say. Many countries many education institutions are actually working on revising their curriculum, working on bringing digitalization into their curriculum as well. And that's why for me, I think was important to put together this book, because I can see this gap, and I can see how, because I specialize in this field, I work in this field, and I also want to enrich other people. I want to inspire other people because I was a student myself at some point. And I think maybe I'm just now maybe expanding a little bit more here, because, writing this book for me also was, I thought of myself in a sense that if I'm a student, will I actually want to read this book? And if I'm studying mechanical, I'm studying electrical, or I'm studying whatever I'm studying, will I actually connect with this book? Will it benefit me? Even as a professional right now, tomorrow or next month, will this book be useful to me? I get a sense that it will be, because I really did put the content that is relevant to me as a professional, but also the content that would be relevant to me, I think, as I was imagining putting it together, relevant content that I would sort of connect with me as a young person. So it will be interesting to have a review of people that will be getting this book to get a sense of what their review. So maybe I get to the second question. I hope that answers your question. Okay, perfect. So the second question that the gentleman asked over there, I didn't get your name, sorry. So you asked a question about if you're coming from a field, although you did not specify what field, will the book give you a chance to perhaps get the idea, to get it? I think it's the essence of your question.
Yeah, gain interest in the field.
Gain interest in the field. So the book itself is on the topic of digitalization, right? And depending on what field you come from, I think that for someone who comes from a field of engineering, yes, it will be really easy to sort of latch onto the content. But of course, ICT, computer science, yes, because I mean, it's sort of revolving around those areas of study. Perhaps if you're coming from a different field that's not ICT, perhaps not IT, perhaps it will not be as quickly as it will be for people from engineering. But I do have a sense that you will be able to. So I'm also, this is not the end for me in terms of writing the books. So I'm also making other publications, papers. I'm also writing papers that will go into details about certain areas of the book, certain topics of the book. And so this would then be an opportunity for those readers that perhaps want to get into this subject matter and perhaps coming from a different field.
Okay, I'll take another round of questions, but before I do that, when I read your autobiography, you said you're managing skill competitions. So I've got students here, I've got people here who might be interested in those skill competitions. Can you talk more about it?
Yes. Skill competitions is closely linked to the thing called World Skills, which I'm an expert in at World Skills. Actually, early this year, we did a national competition in Mechatronics and of course other fields as well. I was specializing in Mechatronics, where we had competitors from different areas in the country competing for spot number 1. So in September this year, we're sending a team that I'm currently employed and preparing them for the competition later this year in September in France on the topic of mechatronics. So they will be competing with other people of their peers, from different parts of the world. And of course, the goal always is to win a spot number one. So for you, particularly if you want to learn more about this, perhaps you want to take part in this. So we do have the different organizations, WorldSkills. So it's a global skill competition. It's a global organization, but also it has organizations in different countries. So we do have WorldSkills South Africa, for example, WorldSkills Botswana, WorldSkills France, and so on and so forth. So depending on which country you are in, of course, we're speaking of South Africa. In this case, you would then be sort of working with WorldSkills South Africa. And so they do advertise on their website. So I'd recommend you visit their website. And on their website, you are able to enroll to enter and participate in the skill competitions.
What type of skills are needed for you to enter that competition? What background do you need to enter the competition?
Very good question. The competition has different skill categories. So depending on the skill category that you identified to be of interest to you, I'll speak specifically to Mechatronics and Industry 4.0. There's, for example, a lot of skills. There's hairdressing, woodworking, a lot of different skills. But the ones that I'm closely related to are Industry 4.0 and Mechatronics. So what skill sets one has to have in order to perhaps make it in this competition? So I'll start with Mechatronics. So you need absolutely to be competent in programming. So a large part of the competition itself in Mechatronics involves programming. So you have to be very, very good with programming. You have to be so good that within 6 months, you can compete globally and do good. Because we usually have a period of about 6 months to prepare these candidates for an international competition. So we would want, obviously, when we do the selection, we select people that are that good. So I think programming skills is really, really what I would emphasize on. But of course, Mechatronics being that it's involving other skills or other categories like your mechanical and electrical. So you'd also have to be very good with your skills of wiring, going through data sheets, because you are given new things. So it's not as if, you get something that you will know. So immediately when you get to the competition, everything is new to you. So you have to go through documentation that's provided to you. You have to have the ability to comprehend very quickly information that's presented to you. And of course, that includes mechanical assembly, and includes wiring, and of course, commissioning of a system. So this is actually very similar to a professional called systems integrator, or OEMs. In the field of automation, we have engineers that work with companies that works with, for example, Coca-Cola, these companies that produces consumer products. So these people, OEMs and systems integrators, they build machines for production. And the challenges that they encounter on day-to-day are similar to those that we try to simulate in the competition. Because they have to, a customer may say, I want a machine tomorrow. And that machine will include something that you've never worked on as an engineer. So you have to have that ability to very quickly interpret information that's presented to you and use it to advantage so that the machine can work in the end. On the other hand, we've also got a category that is Industry 4.0. And Industry 4.0 brings together fields of computer science and of course fields of mechatronics. So they are really like a brother and a sister if you think about it. So in the field of Industry 4.0, you need to have very good skills of computer science, so designing of computer programs, networking, and you'd also need to have skills of mechatronics. It does not, Industry 4.0 is not emphasizing mechanical, electrical, IT, but it's really emphasizing advancement of mechatronics system. So you need to have very good skills of mechatronics, as you can imagine, because if that machine fails, you need to now go into a toolbox and bring out those mechatronic skills to fix it. but then you also need to be able to advance it. So it's working, it's right, now you need to advance it further, which typically a mechatronic technician does not have the knowledge on how to do. So you need to have that knowledge and that skill set in order to be competent in that. And actually, this is one of the skill categories that is largely involves universities. Other skills, they involve technical colleges and technical schools. So it's a brilliant opportunity to network with different universities across the world as well.
Any questions from the floor? Yes.
In understanding what is information technology.
In my understanding, what is information technology? Okay. Do we take another question or do I take this one?
Okay. Another one? Yes.
Perhaps a very controversial one, especially in the context of South Africa, right? So whenever I think mechatronics, I think those like big machines that build things. And considering that in South Africa, we have a very high unemployment rate, do you think that the movement specifically for Africa or South Africa as a country, like those very big advancements in those fields sort of benefit the social aspect? Because like a lot of operators, for example, in Coca-Cola that you mentioned, lose their jobs as these machines get better. A lot of people that did the human resource basically. So do you think further advancements in the field itself sort of hinder the other aspect of human resource? Yeah.
We'll take the third question, yes.
So let's say someone who's doing mechanical engineering and like learning code or whatever. How far am I from digitalization?
Okay. You doing mechanical engineering and coding. So how far? Is he close to mechatronics? That's what he's saying.
Yes. Digitalization. Okay.
Digitalization of mechatronics. That's what you're saying, isn't it? Yeah. Okay.
Okay, we're going to start with the first question. Basically this question is asking about IT. The question, I think you wanted to, basically, your question is what is IT? So IT, it's actually a field that some people specialize in studying IT, information technology. So it is really about, so IT takes care of two aspects of computer science, computers, of course, and as well as networking. So it does involve programming. It does involve immensely networking. I think, I don't know, do you want maybe, I don't know, were you wanting to maybe in the context of digitalization or something?
Yeah, in relation to what you're doing.
Okay, okay.
I would like also to know if it is helpful and how helpful it is IT.
Okay, I think I understand your question better now. So let me start here. As I've mentioned, that digitalization is about bringing computer systems and internet into already existing systems. So in order to do something like this effectively, you have to know networking. And networking is information technology. So in order to build this machine learning computer programs, and of course you need to have good IT skills. So it is really important. It's important. If the question is how important is it? It is important. I mean, it is really, it's really the centerpiece. When I think about it, it's really the centerpiece of digitalization. Yeah, it is that important. It is important, I think, for someone who is studying IT. I strongly encourage that they also expand their field of knowledge. I think, in engineering or even in IT, if you're going to be successful, one way of being successful is being open to learning new things and learning about electronics they're not so far apart, IT and electronics. Learning about mechanics, learning about modern things, new technologies. We're talking about artificial intelligence, learning about new things that perhaps you did not study that are related to your subject. I think the point that I'm really making here is that learning does not stop. So just keep that in mind, that learning does not stop. Just learn, accumulate as much information, knowledge as you can get. That will always come in handy. Maybe not today, maybe not next year. It will definitely come in handy at some point in your life. Okay. To the second question, an interesting question about unemployment, because you make a very valid point that as we speak today, much of the employment or some of the employment is in manual labor. So you have people that are, flight attendants, petrol attendants, accountants, chartered accountants. So with the way that technology is going, these jobs are going to be obsolete. Actually, accountant is something I wouldn't recommend anybody to study accountant. Is very, very quickly going to be obsolete. I mean, you can see it already. You can perform so many functions on your banking app. So there's absolutely no need anymore to go to the bank. You just need a bank for authorization, for linking, and then that's it. So you can immediately see there that the role of an accountant is so automated. So why should one be studying accounting if you're going to, robots are going to be doing that? And I think this speaks directly to your concern, is that issue of unemployment. I mean, obviously, if we have these systems, where are the people going to go? What are people going to do? I think there is no one correct answer to this question. The future is going to unravel itself, and as we progress into the future, it will become more clear what the role of a human will be, because it seems like people are not going to be doing anything. Machines are going to be doing everything. There is a lot of theories about what is going to happen in the future, what people are going to be doing, but perhaps in the near future, which is already starting to appear as unemployment, what people are losing their jobs. I think the takeaway here is that we need to choose our career paths wisely, and we need to, but also another point I want to make is that industry revolution does not necessarily remove the human element. I want to give an example with Industry 3.0. Think about the automotive industry, right? And you know that there was a time where people were traveling on horses. I mean, cars did not sort of appear with the people, cars came after. And there was an era where people used horses to travel, to move between places. And we now have cars. And so at that time, what really happened at that time when cars were actually introduced? You had people that looked after horses, that was their profession. You had people building carriages for horses, people sort of farming to make food for horses and all sorts of accessories for taking care of horses and other animals for transportation. What happened to those people? Obviously, some of them lost. They couldn't, there was no demand anymore. So it maybe left them unemployed. But look at it today. How many people are employed in the automotive industry? So the point here is that we don't know really what are people going to be doing in the future.
It's about reskilling, isn't it?
Yes.
It's about reskilling. I think the most important thing is reskilling. You gave an example about the bank. If I'm an accountant and now my profession is becoming obsolete, I'll take my skills of accounting and apply it in mechatronics, one way or the other. I can do that, isn't it? It's about reskilling. Then I bring in my financial background into mechatronics and I develop a big system or machine, that can incorporate that, isn't it?
100%.
Yeah, 100%. So it's about reskilling.
So let us not sit back and say, The robot is doing this, so it's done for me. No, it's not done for you. Just be open to learning and reskilling yourself so that you'll still be relevant in the job market. 100%. There was a third question, I think.
Yes.
And this question was about mechanical. So this is somebody in the field of mechanical that is also learning coding. And the question is that how close are they to digitalization? How close are they to digitalization? So how close you are, I think depends on how much coding you're doing and what type of coding you're doing and what projects you're doing. So it depends on that. But I also think that any amount of coding that you do is good. I think it gives you a good foundation. But I think for me, because I'm in the field, I would say code more. I would say code more, and specifically, I would say, I don't know what type of coding you're doing, but the type of coding that you want to really associate yourself more with computer related coding. So because there's coding of microcontrollers, there's coding of controllers, but try and expand your coding into more advanced coding, your Python types of coding. So I think, yeah, please. Yeah, I would say do that because the solutions, the type of systems that we build in digitalization, they are oriented around the computer science types of coding languages. Yeah. Okay. I hope that answers your questions. Yeah, good.
Perfect. Any more questions? Anything from virtual? Okay. Yes, there's a question there.
Hi. So your field seems extremely specialized, like the access to entry is very steep. And I guess my question is related to what you were speaking about before, because I know AI is, like, coding was kind of specialized, like not everyone could learn how to code, but now AI using language models has made coding much more easier for everybody else. Like, just type in sentences and it writes a code for an app and whatnot. Like, I think NVIDIA announced that a month ago. So, and I know you mentioned that programming is within what you do and coding is a part of that. So I guess my question is, do you think AI could loosen the barrier of entry to a very specialized field? What would that look like for you?
The entry to the field is competency. So yes, in a way, AI does make things easier because as opposed to you trying to learn something and visiting 100 websites, you have this system that just gives you a summarized version of all those 100 sites. So there you can see immediately that it helps you very immensely to get good information, reliable information very quickly without having to refer to different sources. So in that sense, you can advance your knowledge, and that will actually put you in a good position to be competent and perhaps to thrive in the field. I think that it's more than just relying on AI because this field is not just about information, it's not just about knowledge, but it's also about the ability. Are you able to build engineering systems? Are you able to move from design or have a vision of how a system can move from design into real system? So, and that ability cannot be read. You have to obviously have experience, you have to practice and gain that ability. So yes, in a way it does, but I think there are other areas that it's limited in which it can help with at the current moment. Good.
Okay. Any more questions?
I think as an extension to that question, do you think AI might replace the people that are in the field of mechatronics because it could build that code and
yeah, well, today we have people building these AI systems. Perhaps in the future, yes, maybe I don't know how much into the future though. maybe that will be the case whereby AI is building these programs for us. But yeah, I think that the immediate, as we speak of today, it's still essential that we have different skills, and that includes of coding. So please do get a copy of the book. Get a copy of the book, and I think it will really unpack quite a lot that will make a lot of things clear to you. Okay.
I think as a part of wrapping up, we will then okay. What are you currently working on? And what should we expect from you in the near future?
Ooh, wow, that's a good question. I am actually working on various, I'm working with various education institutions to guest lecture about the book, also about the subjects of mechatronics and Industry 4.0. So as I've also mentioned, just a while back, that I'm also working on the new publications. So I'll be posting this information soon on social media. I think for those that are following me on social media, please stay tuned. You will learn more about some of these works that I'm doing. But I think brace yourself for a really exciting future.
And in conclusion, what word of encouragement do you have for our students?
So the word of encouragement I can give you, I have to do it in reference to myself, because I was a student, and I'm still a student, by the way. I think when I was a student, when I was still in college, I just wanted to get to the final year and be done with school. And I think the word of encouragement I can give you is that there is a lot of opportunities out there, a lot of opportunities. Opportunities in most cases, and in most of the time, don't come to your doorstep. You don't wake up and then they're there. People talk about there's so much youth unemployment in the country. But I can assure you that there is a lot of opportunities, perhaps not so much employment, but there's a lot of opportunities. And so don't limit yourself in that mentality of there's no jobs and therefore I'm just going to wait, or don't just wait for an opportunity to present itself at your doorstep. Go out there, go to places, as you've done here. This is quite commendable that you're here. This university has, I don't know how many students, but I don't imagine that it's less than 100. But I think the mere fact that you came here, and I don't know why the others are, perhaps they're engaged with their studies, but the mere fact that you are here, I think is commendable. And I think I would say, keep up that, maintain that, keep up that initiative, and go on and go out there and find opportunities and grab opportunities that come your way as well.
Okay, thank you very much, Treasure. I think let's give a round of applause to Treasure. Brave step. Oh, you've got a question.
I don't have a question, actually. I just wanted to add to the word of encouragement from Treasure that I got the invite for the book launch, and to encourage the young people in the room that I had to come and see the real Treasure, because when I met Treasure, I think if I'm not mistaken, Treasure, you had just joined Festo, and I think you were a graduate or just fresh, the young person, like, I don't know if you were an intern at Festo. So like I had to come and see is that is this the treasure
development?
that I met
growth.
as an intern? So I'm very, very happy. And I think to add on what he's saying on encouraging the students in the room is that really they must look bigger than just jobs and everything. So well done, Treasure. I don't have questions. I know nothing about mechatronics, but I came just in support to really say, really when a person is determined to do something, they can even go as far as even writing industry books. So I'm really, really proud, and it's nice to see the evidence in front of me, not to just hear, but to know people write books. But so well done. Like, yeah. So many of you can walk out and be interns in the next companies, and then you'll write books as well. Well done. Can't wait to read those big words.
And he says it's the first, by the way. He says there's
Of
more to
many.
come. Yeah.
Yes.
He says there's more to come. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for making it through for today. We have the books available, isn't it, Treasure? Where
Absolutely.
you can buy the book. And Treasure is also here to sign the book for you. And whilst he's busy doing that, we also have refreshments at the back. And from me, that as a coordinator for events in the library and seeing students all the time coming to this type of events, my word is we bring this to you so that you understand what's happening out there, so that you prepare yourself for the world of work, so that whatever you're learning at the moment, you know that it's applied in a certain way, and that reskilling, it's the order of the day. So if you are doing mechanical engineering, know that it's not the end. You have to add something else to it. If you are doing IT, add something to it so that you become relevant when you go out there to the world of work. We as the library, we've taken a vision for this year and said our vision of this year is to prepare students for the world of work. That's why we bring people who are out there doing the practical work to you so that it becomes relevant for you to say, okay, I'm reading about this thing, but I can also interact with people that are out there in the field, and what's happening there in the field rather than just reading about it. So I really appreciate the time you've taken here, and please make sure you check out our library Facebook page, Instagram, LinkedIn. This is where we put relevant information for you that will assist you in preparing you for the world of work out there. Thank you very much. There are refreshments at the back. Those who want to interact with Treasure are welcome to come closer and talk to him, and also buy the books, and he'll sign them for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.